are professionally produced.
Nothing about this is professional.
Welcome back to Jedi Enclave. I'm Daniel.
I'm Chris.
And we're your esteemed hosts of the Jedi Enclave Presidency. Now, this is podcast where we talk about Star Wars and other science fiction, fantasy adjacent things. This week,
everybody released their own trailers.
This week, there's
like 80,000 trailers.
Yeah,
we have to
and you know what? I don't think any of them we're going to talk about in any detail.
Some of them were even good.
Yeah, like we'll probably spend some time on the ones I'm like interested in.
Mm-hmm.
A couple that I'm not at all interested in, and one that I'm actively. We're gonna have to hate watch anyway, but I'm never gonna pay for it, right? So there's that. There's some Star Wars news. The Bad Batch season 3 episode 9 was today, so we're gonna have our spoiler discussion.
Pretty big episode,
and yet somehow not.
Nah.
So yeah, we'll get there. There's a Mike Zeroh live of the week this week that we're gonna do.
A good time.
And I think that's it. It's enough.
Yeah, that's pretty much
We'll talk about Invincible if we have some time, I think. And then let's see. Oh, yeah. If you're here for the official podcast release, which comes out currently on Saturdays, because it isn't always... Our schedule changes depending on when the Star Wars thing is, right? Mm-hmm. So right now, Star Wars is happening on Wednesdays. Wednesday night is kind of when we can have it's when our schedule works out. The podcast ends up being on Saturdays. I think when Acolyte happens, we'll probably still do Wednesdays because that comes out on Tuesdays.
Okay.
So if you're here for the official podcast release in the future on Saturday, you can go to the time codes in the description and skip around as you wish. Look at the things we discussed. Listen to the things that you like and ignore the things you don't.
If you're here with us in the past on Wednesday, you have none of those choices.
Yeah,
you just have to watch this linearly.
Yeah, so I'm very sorry. Thank you at Connor at the Star Wars Hub and Star Wars Veritas, who is a cool guy, and I found myself tag teaming. So that sounded.
Keep going, man.
We were in the comments section of a couple of his posts. We were tag teaming some bigots and homophobes.
Nice.
It was kind of nice. So there's that. Thanks to him. Good.
Yes.
Go check his shit out. Make sure you like and subscribe. Share the stream. Join us on Discord. The link's in the description. On YouTube, we passed 900 subscribers, which for us is a huge deal. Because YouTube is out of all the content platforms.
It sucks. It's discoverability is terrible.
Yeah, it's hard to get into unless you do the whole hate bait thing, which we do not do. I really think our subscribers would explode if we did the Mike Zeroh Doomcock Star Wars theory. We hate everything.
Just go out there and tell lies.
I'm out. Yeah, tell lies. I'm outraged by everything. Everything's so serious and world ending. Everything's a slap in the face and all that other bullshit with the laser eyes thumbnails, which we had one this last week, and it got us subscribers, by the way.
See, we could do that,
but we're not.
But we have self-respect.
Yeah. So this last week also we passed 14,000 followers on Facebook, which is where our biggest audience is. We're live right now on Facebook and Twitch and YouTube. So that's pretty cool.
Sweet.
After this, we'll be doing either. I don't think we're doing Battlefront. It depends on who messages me between now and when we start. But we might be doing Battlefront anyway. It just might be the old one.
Yeah, okay. The old one that was made new that was terrible but is now less terrible?
Yeah, we'll see if it works. If it doesn't, then we will do Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. And then on Sunday, will be our weekly Star Wars tabletop RPG called Gungans and Dragons, which is always a blast. I would have a lot of fun doing it.
There's some momentous things happening.
Yeah,
we're having to choose whether we're gonna leave a Padawan to die.
Yeah, which is funny because a couple of people on the squad have had some moral problems with what I've done. And then all the people who had those problems were fine leaving a fucking Padawan to die on his own. So. Oh, and I do drugs a lot.
You mind controlled a man into self-destructing his own ship.
I didn't do that last week.
After he stopped shooting at us.
I put a stun grenade in a man's helmet.
And then it exploded and vaporized his face.
Yes. He didn't need it. He'll be fine. He's alive.
I don't think he is, actually.
Well, can you prove that? Do you have the body? Fuck you, Chris. Moving on. I will not stand for this. I am a hero.
All right, what are we talking about?
Let's get into Star Wars news. First, okay, so we're gonna do we're talking about Star Wars Acolyte a little bit, and then we're gonna do the Mike Zeroh of the week because they're related. They're related and everything. So everyone knows Star Wars Acolyte had a trailer last week. I thought it was great.
It was really fucking good.
This is anecdotal, I know, but practically everyone I know that I can confirm is a Star Wars fan enjoyed it and is excited about it, and the ones that didn't weren't offended by it in any way.
Because there's nothing to be offended by. It's just some characters doing some cool shit.
Right. And so the trailer had, according to Star Wars, had 51 million views across all their platforms.
Which is kind of a lot.
That is a lot. Though there's a certain crowd of people that let me put it this way. The trailer was review bombed and someone took responsibility for it on the Geeks and Gamers subreddit.
Of course.
And it's seriously like, you know who else claims responsibility for shit like this? Terrorists. It was really kind of like a thing from Al Qaeda. It's like, oh, I'm responsible for this and all this other bullshit. Which, by the way, there's a reason why measuring metrics by likes and dislikes is kind of stupid anyway, because you can purchase either of them. Like there are services where you know if you've got $70, you can go and buy 1,000 dislikes or whatever.
Nothing on the internet means anything.
Yeah. Also, if there's a concerted effort, even like in a group where people wouldn't have watched it otherwise, it makes the metric invalid.
I mean, for fuck's sake, isn't Oppa Gangnam Style still the most watched video on YouTube?
I don't know. So like when it's the same reason why I don't really pay attention to the audience scores on Rotten Tomatoes, because they're very easily manipulated, right?
That and people are stupid.
Yeah. So like it's fine. It's like, okay, so it had a bunch of, it was only on the YouTube version where it had like a bunch of dislikes and everything. That's fine. I don't give a fuck. And I can tell you who else doesn't give a fuck. Lucasfilm doesn't give a fuck because that doesn't affect video metrics really on YouTube at all. And in fact, when it does, it will almost always help you because YouTube sees those dislikes as engagement.
People are passionate about this. Right. We need to show it to more people.
Yes, and so you're working for Lucasfilm, bringing that trailer to more people. So congratulations.
You're not even getting paid for it.
Yeah. The weird thing about this is that this is, as far as I can tell, a weird, seemingly conservative effort because of identity politics, right?
Oh no!
And like this,
they put non-white people in Star Wars. Right. There's women doing things. Right. Can't have that.
Yeah, and the people that are weighing in on this are not even necessarily Star Wars fans, and that's not like a gatekeepy thing. That's Ben Shapiro did a video,
of course,
over the last week. It was like Star Wars is ruined, and it's like Ben Shapiro is the kind of guy where like 2 weeks ago you've been like, hey, have you ever seen Star Wars? His answer would have been like, is that the one with Darth Vader in it? And then all of a sudden he's weighing in on Star Wars because it's he's trying to ride the gravy train and get attention himself. I posted something on our Facebook with a screenshot of one of the shots from the trailer, talking about how excited I was. And there was a ton of hate that came in about it. And I did some investigating and checked out as many profiles as I could to kind of see like what the deal was. And exclusively, all of them were men. A lot of the profiles didn't seem to be real profiles in the first place. Like they had like 4 or 5 friends. They didn't have an actual like picture as their profile picture.
Are you implying that this is a bot farm?
Yes, it is. Yes, I am implying.
Okay.
That. In fact, I am asserting that. And then the ones that were real, because it wasn't all bot farm, like it wasn't all bots, that had a bunch of QAnon crazy Trump shit on their profile. And are they Star Wars fans? I can't say for sure. I can't read everyone's mind. Maybe they do enjoy Star Wars. I don't know. Maybe Ben Shapiro does watch Star Wars or whatever. He does that instead of pleasing his wife, probably. Anyway.
I was going to say, I was trying to work in at some point. Ben Shapiro is the man who publicly bragged about never having given his wife an orgasm.
Yeah, which is funny because I'm gay and I gave your wife an orgasm, Ben Shapiro. So, not really. Actually, I'm sure she's perfectly fine.
This is how gay Daniel is. He can't even joke about bringing a woman to orgasm.
But really, I'm sure she's a nice person, but then you have to think like,
she married Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, what did you see in Ben Shapiro that you were like, oh yeah, oh fuck yeah. Anyway, all of this is stupid, and it pisses me off a little bit. Like, basically, what's happening is that Star Wars fans are excited about this, and like there are people that want to ruin it for everyone, and so they're being children in comment sections across the internet. They're
the worst people in the world, and they're just being themselves.
Yeah, and it's right. That's the thing is like, if you look at everything they're saying, it's like you're saying that, and then you think that you're the good guy, which is like really, I can't believe that someone
a comical lack of self-awareness.
Yeah, it's like you walk away from that, and you're like, yeah, I did a good thing, and it's like, no,
I shat on that person's hopes and dreams.
It's like you're literally the villain in this story, so fuck off. So there's that. Have I lost my excitement for Acolyte?
No,
not a single fucking bit. In fact, I'm still really excited about it. And you know what? If it sucks, we'll say it sucks.
Yeah.
But not because you fucking said so. It's because we'll wait until after we've seen it, because it's the only way you can make an evaluation on its quality. And if it sucks, we'll say it sucks, because we don't like, despite the accusations, we're not actually Disney shills.
I mean,
we criticize Disney a lot, actually, where they deserve it.
And like, we came back from fucking Rise of Skywalker and said that movie kind of sucks.
Yeah, hated that movie. Yeah. So it's we're still gonna watch it. I think a lot of Star Wars fans are gonna watch it. I have a feeling that a lot of Star Wars fans are really going to enjoy it as well. Now,
assuming they let themselves enjoy it.
Right. I love when we get to do this segment called the Mike Zeroh Lie of the Week.
Okay.
Because first of all, it could be really anything that I want, and ordinarily we award it to like a person, right? And it's been Mike Zeroh a lot because he lies. He just lies a lot.
He puts out like 17 videos a day, and all of them are lies.
Yes. In this
allegedly.
Yeah. No, they're all lies. I'm allowed to say that. What I'm not allowed to say is that he has a dildo at home engraved with Kathleen Kennedy's name. I can't say that because I don't know that. It's just that's what I heard.
Sources have told you.
Yeah, right,
allegedly.
Right. And he fucks himself with it every night. Anyway, so the Mike Zeroh Lie of the Week award this week doesn't go to a particular person, but a lie. Okay. And I'm going to preface this, and I've had to give this preface, I feel like, more and more. The wrong people will not be convinced by anything we're going to say in this. There are people who you could show them proof of a thing that challenges their beliefs, and they'll never change their mind. It's just they're incapable of it, right? And those aren't the people we're trying to reach. Like this video that'll be on YouTube exists for people who care about what's true instead of what makes them feel a certain way. And they approach the topic embracing the possibility that they could be wrong, right? But speaking about this Acolyte trailer thing, there is one unifying theme coming up a lot from a lot of the trolls and dumbasses in the comment section. And the more I've done research on this, the more enraged I've become about it, because when you dig deeper into it, it's really disgusting. But the claim is that the showrunner for the show, Leslye Headland, who worked at Miramax for 6 years and for a year was Harvey Weinstein's assistant, the accusation and the claim that's being made is that she was directly involved in his abuse of other women, and helped him, get girls or whatever. And at the very least was knowledgeable about what was going on and said nothing.
That's a very damning claim. I assume they have very persuasive evidence about this.
They do not.
I see.
Yeah. And it's like, so I started doing some digging in this, because if she was complicit, if she was involved, that's something I want to know.
Sure. Because
I'll tell you what's different between us and the people making these claims is that if I find out it's true, it doesn't matter what position she has or how much I like her. My immediate answer is throw her in jail. I don't have an allegiance toward a person that could do literally anything. And then me say, you know, and I'm not trying to make any particular political ties on this, but there are two kinds of people in the world. There are people who, it doesn't matter who they are. If there's proof that they did something wrong, put them in jail. And the other people who, when the proof shows up that their person of choice did something wrong, no, it's because I like them, no.
Yeah.
But this other person I don't like, yes.
Fuck.
Right. Which is disgusting. So I started doing some digging into this, trying to find any shred of evidence that Leslye Headland was involved in any of this, and of course found none, right? And the thing that I saw that was the closest to any kind of evidence, she was on the Andy Greenwald podcast a while ago. It was when she still worked for Harvey Weinstein. And said some nice things about Harvey Weinstein.
Okay.
All right. And this is the most damning evidence that I found. And it's like, I mean, yeah. Like, you're not going to go on a podcast and shit talk your employer.
Yeah.
Especially at that time, who is an insanely powerful Hollywood producer. Of course she's not going to do that. So I wouldn't have, and so the claim was, oh, well, she was saying really nice shit about him then. And then when he was caught, she started saying really shitty things about him. You know what else that kind of suggests? That she didn't know, and then she found out, and then was like, he's a shit person.
Yeah.
It does seem like everyone in Hollywood knew that Harvey Weinstein on some level was kind of a bad dude. But the levels of what people knew vary, and there's no evidence whatsoever that Leslye Headland was involved in this. In fact, I couldn't notice a parallel between what they're accusing Leslye Headland of, and you might remember the Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell thing.
Yep.
Right. You'll notice that this is what they want it to be. They want it to be a Jeffrey Epstein, Maxwell thing. The thing is that Ghislaine Maxwell was implicated by all of Jeffrey Epstein's accusers. When they did their investigation into everything, they found proof that she was involved and she was helping, because that's not something you could actually hide.
Yeah.
And so she went to prison, and she was found guilty of that crime. So
order. She was found guilty and then she went to prison.
Yes. Well, she was in jail, then she was found guilty, then she went to prison. So I started doing some digging into this, and I was like, okay, I wonder how many of Harvey Weinstein's accusers said, hey, Leslye Headland was the one helping him find
she knew
women.
About this.
Or at least Leslye Headland, his personal assistant, knew and turned a blind eye. Not a single person, not a single accuser in any of the court documents ever mention Leslye Headland at all, right?
Interesting.
You know who did know for a fact that Harvey Weinstein was involved in shit like this?
Who's that?
Ben Affleck.
Oh, okay.
We know this because one of Harvey Weinstein's accusers was like, yeah, Ben Affleck knew. Colin Firth.
Okay.
One of Weinstein's victims told him about what happened and asked for advice. Said nothing to anyone. Brett Ratner, who was later accused of sexual assault himself, knew and said nothing. Quentin Tarantino was dating one of Harvey Weinstein's victims while she was being abused by him. Knew what was happening, said nothing.
Jesus.
Quentin Tarantino to the New York Times. I knew enough to do more than I did. There was more to it than just normal rumors, the normal gossip. It wasn't secondhanded. I knew he did a couple of those things. Those people knew about what Harvey Weinstein did. Leslye Headland did not. And you know what the difference? You know why these assholes in these comment sections aren't going after Ben Affleck and Quentin Tarantino?
Because they're men.
They're fucking men. That's why. I don't see anyone saying, oh, you can't watch a Quentin Tarantino film because he knew about this. Quentin Tarantino wasn't involved. He just knew about it. And no one says a fucking thing about him, right? this is the thing, is that if she was involved, like, send her to jail. But this is the thing. And this is for all of you. These guys will be in our comment sections. They'll try to accuse us of the most shocking things they can, right? Which always is you're a pedophile. Because there is some crazy projection happening where when you don't agree with them, you're a pedophile. It doesn't matter what you're arguing about. It's just like, because it's a really shocking thing, and that's the only thing they care about, is making a really shocking accusation. And that's fine, because we won't see any of the comments anyway, because we have great mods that get rid of that shit really fast, and that's fine. You knock yourself up. The thing is, and this is for all of you, you don't give a fuck about Harvey Weinstein's victims. This isn't why you're bringing it up. Not a single one of these women, you don't care about any of their experiences, any of the things that they went through. And this is a convenient prop, because you're balls deep on the Star Wars woke Disney bullshit. And this was the best thing you could find, was a tenuous at best relationship. And to parade that, and to pretend like you are doing this, for the victims of Harvey Weinstein, when in fact, when it was happening, many, if not most of you, were cheering for Harvey Weinstein and supporting him, and saying things in the comment section like, oh, well, do you know how often women falsely accuse men of sexual assault? Which, by the way, is hardly ever. It just doesn't happen as much as people think it does. You know what crime Leslye Headland is guilty of to these people?
She's a woman.
She's a woman, and she's gay. That is the crime you're pissed off about. And to you, that's way worse than sexual assault. That's way worse than what, in your mind, is way worse than what Harvey Weinstein did to those women. So this won't change it. If you're the person that I'm talking to right now, if this is you, your mind's not going to change. You're incapable of it. You don't have the cognitive process to realize that you may be wrong about something. And since you've publicly professed it, we have science on this. When you publicly profess something and you learn of evidence that directly contradicts it, instead of apologizing and saying you are wrong, you're going to double down. That's just what we know people do, right? Mm-hmm. So say whatever you want in the comments. I don't care. The audacity that you cared about Harvey Weinstein's victims is fucking disgusting. And sure, we sit here with our 900 followers because we don't make videos buying into this bullshit. But at the very least, I go to bed every night knowing that I'm not a piece of human trash, which is what you are. So good job.
Let's talk about something we like now.
Yes. Ooh, that shit. The more I read into that, I was like, you got to be kidding. Because I assumed that maybe there was like a couple of his accusers were like, oh, she might have known about it.
Yeah.
Or at least mentioned her. Mm-hmm. Not a single fucking person. Just, what are you doing?
Let's talk about video games.
Oh, is that on my part of the list?
I'm just picking something at random, dude.
Okay, well, I have notes for this. Okay. If you've read it, if you went.
Sure. So, Star Wars Outlaws, game in development by Ubisoft. It's the girl Han Solo runs around, mm-hmm. does archaeological theft. It's I just realized it's Uncharted, but Star Wars.
Yeah.
So
also Red Dead Redemption 2, possibly
maybe a little bit, yeah.
Which I, by the way, would come. if they're like, oh, we're doing Red Dead, but in space and Star Wars, I'd be like,
all right, I'm here.
I have orgasms. Take my money.
Anyway, the game has a rating in South Korea. That rating being 19 plus for people 19 and up. Mm-hmm. For adult themes, which include gambling, like depictions of gambling and drug use.
Sabak, baby.
Yeah.
Death sticks, baby. Which, by the way, I don't think this means that they're doing like loot boxy gambling things.
I think it's literally you sit at a table and play cards.
Right. Which another, like you do that in Red Dead, by the way. You can sit on play poker. I've made a ton of money doing it because people play poker so stupidly on Red Dead.
So the speculation is that this higher rating in Korea is going to translate to a higher rating in North America, that this might possibly be the first M-rated Star Wars video game.
Yeah. Which,
if it is, sure, I'm here for it.
I would be a little upset that was the reason that you play card games. I would like it. I would like it to be because it was intense and like, you know, but yeah.
Personally, I don't think it's going to be. I think Disney is pretty cautious about keeping Star Wars like at 13 and up friendly.
Yeah, it'll get to America and they'll be like, "That's the worst it has as a card game."
T for teen.
It's fine. Yeah, that'd be fun.
The other side of this receiving a Korean rating is that it might just give us an indication of when the game's going to be released. Because Ubisoft hasn't given a window; they've just said this year.
Right.
So based on some other games that have gotten ratings and then their release dates, we might be looking at May into June-ish as a release window. I
saw the data points that they used for this, which there aren't enough data points for them to...
Right, it's like 3 or 4.
Yeah. They're usually... So the claim is from the time that a rating is given to its release is generally between 60 and 90 days, right? And if that's true, which that is a big if, because like I said, we only have 4 data points.
Extremely small sample size. That's a pretty wide window as well.
However, that means we could have it in late June or late May or early June. And let me tell you,
God, there's so much shit happening.
If it's in June, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to sleep because there'd be that Star Wars Acolyte, Game of Thrones, or House of the Dragon season 2. The Bear season 3.
God, yeah.
The Boys season 4?
4, I think.
Or 3?
I think it's 4.
And I feel like there's there are films in June we're gonna have to see.
So much shit happening this summer. Holy fuck.
I'm kind of excited though.
Yeah.
It'll make up for the summer during the pandemic where we could do nothing but stay in our house. So So speaking of trailers.
Oh, God.
Well, hold on. Before we get there, I want to read some comments real quick. Chris says, "May the force be with you, Daniel and Chris. I hope you're both having a good night. I am so glad I found the Jedi Enclave channel in 2022. Also, some of these people are saying the showrunner of the Acolyte hates George Lucas, which is completely false. That's a weird claim to make.
They're just kind of throwing it on there just to, add another reason to pillory her.
Yeah. Jimmy says, okay, good day from Thursday.
Hello.
What's that, man? Why did my computer do that? Okay. Harvey W being the topic was unexpected to say the least. I didn't want it to be, but here we are. Martin, I think that means Martin Scorsese. Sat on Gangs of New York until Harvey gave the go-ahead. He held loads of sway more than anyone should. Nate says, hey guys, Jedi/Chris.
Hello.
I think maybe he thinks my name is Jedi.
Maybe.
And that's fine. Battlefront Classic, it depends. If it works today, we'll probably do it. Jimmy says, Star Wars Bounty Hunter, Red Dead, bring it. Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm fucking here for it. So let me pull up this. Hold on a second.
Because there's a big long list of trailers.
Yeah, it's not super long, but I want to make sure I don't. Let's get a couple of the stupid ones out of the way.
Okay. Rebel Moon. It looks exactly like part 1.
Yeah.
Which is unsurprising because they were filmed at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing from Zack Snyder's perspective, because if anyone waited until the first one was released to decide if they wanted to fund the second one, it would not happen.
Nope. Yeah, and let me tell you, it looks about as stupid as the first one.
Yeah.
The only thing, because we'll probably hate watch this, kind of like when I watch God's Not Dead. Mm-hmm. I'm watching it to make fun of it. The one thing that I am excited about in this movie is Sir Anthony Hopkins' droid.
Yeah,
the robot with the little hat. He made a little hat out of like antlers and shit. Because I thought he was actually really cool. Yeah. The rest of it, I'm like, okay, so it's Star Wars / Dune. And the thing is that if Dune hadn't just come out and been a fucking amazing movie, I don't know, maybe that would have worked. But yeah, are we excited? No. We'll watch it because we have to. That's pretty much it. I will not be spending money on it. Alien Romulus, which actually is one of the ones I'm excited for. My dad is an Aliens fan. I think Ridley Scott did the first one, and then James Cameron did the second one. Both of them really good filmmakers. I like both of them. It's like any other science fiction fantasy property where like there are several movies, but like there are a couple of really good ones.
Yeah.
And then they've got the whole prequel, the more modern films like the Prometheus movies and everything, which like had some good stuff in it. And we're pretty okay.
I've never been an Alien fan. It looks like every other Alien movie to me, which if that's your cup of tea, then great.
We might brush up on this a little bit then, because there are some, like in the first Alien movie, there are some stunningly...
Like I understand they're iconic and they're very important for a good reason. I've just never been a huge fan.
Yeah. Apparently for this, I was reading a little bit about it. They're trying as hard as they can to do as little CG as possible. They want to do everything in frame, which is a very Ridley Scott thing. Not so much James Cameron, because he's like, everything will be CG, even the water will be CG. But they were talking about how there's a moment in the first film that was shocking to audiences, which is the chest burst scene with a little alien that pops out. I was like, hey guys.
The Spaceball scene. Hello, my baby. Hello, honey.
Yeah. That shocked audiences. And apparently they wanted to have a similar moment in this movie that hadn't been done in science fiction before. Like something happens that hasn't been done. And apparently, from what I was reading, from what I heard, they shot it practically. And when they shot it, like the boom guy got sick. And it was like, oh God.
Okay.
Right. And then when they saw the dailies, they're like, oh my God. So I might watch it because I just want to know what that one moment is. But from the trailer, it looks kind of neat. The Penguin, HBO Max, or is it Max HBO or? So this is a continuation in the Matt Reeves, the Batman,
Rob Bat.
Yeah. Who we can't buy. That might be trademarked, by the way. Because I'm a huge...
too bad, because it's a really good name.
Yeah. If anyone's curious about where that came from, I'm a huge fan of
Collider.
No. I listen to them every week. The Weekly Planet podcast, and also Mr. Sunday Movies. It was the same person, and they thought of that, and it's fucking hilarious. So it's in that Matt Reeves Batman continuity. In fact, Colin Firth, who plays, or not Colin Firth,
Farrell?
Colin Farrell, who plays the Penguin, is in the Batman film. And he was such a like fan favorite in the movie because he his performance is really good, but also you can't tell who he is.
Yeah.
Like he's got like the prosthetics are so perfect and he just fucking looks like the Penguin, right? So it's about his, I guess, beginning as a gangster or whatever, like an origin story. I guess Batman's supposed to pop up at some point.
You damn well better, because like these Batman without Batman movies and things, they're just really fucking weird.
I think that they know they've got to have some Batman in it, right? And then one other, we didn't have a trailer, but tangentially create, I guess, test audiences are getting to see the next Joker movie starring Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay. Speaking of Batman movies that don't have Batman in it.
Yeah, but did you see the first one?
No.
It's incredible. It is so good. And it's one of those movies where like any given person is either going to be like, I fucking hated it or I fucking loved it. I fucking loved it. We saw it in theaters. And I'll be damned if the last 15 minutes of that movie didn't have me sitting on the edge of my seat the entire time. It is so good. Apparently the second one's a musical. Has like 15 songs in it. They're like well-known pop songs.
I don't know how I feel about this.
I know no one knew how to feel about it. And then test audiences started watching it and reports started coming out. And apparently it's really good. So,
okay.
Yeah, we'll see. So the premise of the first one was and then it came out and I was like, all right, I'm a fan of this movie. This is fucking great. So we'll see. The big thing this week that I was so fucking excited for is that the second season of House of the Dragon.
They put out no fewer than 3 trailers.
Yes, they got a good marketing thing happening. They're revisiting the "Are you Team Jacob or Team Edward" thing. Mm-hmm. Where are you
a werewolf or a vampire?
Yeah, which is the only thing I really know about Twilight. I promise. Yeah. Are you Team Black or Team Green? What are you? I gotta know.
I think I'm Team Black.
Okay, me too. Thank God. I didn't want to have to kill you because that would have been really awkward. I am now, have always been, and will forever be loyal to House Targaryen, the true Targaryens.
The incest people.
Yeah. We don't talk about that. Yeah. That's an unfortunate truth. And since it's fiction, I don't care.
Yeah.
So at some point we should do like a primer on all the shit that happened in season 1.
Oh, we can use my family bush.
Yeah. That's a weird way to say that, but yes, we can.
For those of you who don't know, like I got confused watching House of the Dragon season 1, so I like sat down and plotted out the family tree of the Targaryens and like where it like goes down and then like loops back around.
Yeah, like many people are involved in this marriage.
Yes.
In ways that you would not guess. Yeah, and you know I loved the first season. It was I think for people who were really invested in Game of Thrones who weren't necessarily happy with how the show ended.
It was just nice to see dragons again, right?
But it was also a return to form. Like it was like the story was solid, and there were weird FX things because it like the pandemic really kind of fucked everything. But I'm excited for the second season. I've not read any of this part of the book that it's from, so I have no idea what's going to happen.
Because apparently this is like 5 pages in the book, and they've expanded it to be like, who knows how many seasons.
It's a tiny part of the book, but they're like extremely talented cast. The music is fucking great. There's this theme that they used in Game of Thrones whenever fucking Daenerys Targaryen would show up with a dragon, and it's like that theme just gets my heart pumping. It's so fucking good. So. That's going to be in June, the earlier part. I think it's a week after Acolyte comes out. So we'll be watching and talking about that. I guarantee it. All right. So let's get to
Bad Batch.
Yeah, the Bad Batch. Let me pull my notes here.
While you're doing that, spoiler free, there was a big thing in the trailer for this season that everyone was talking about, and guess what? That thing happens.
And it ended up not being a big deal. I was kind of like, okay, it's like so I think we expected more to happen around this because of the trailer. Yeah. Once I've seen the episode, I was like, oh, is that it? So I was a little,
I liked it.
I liked it too.
I thought they did it tastefully.
I liked it too. Like, I don't think it was bad. It just, I was expecting
you wanted more.
Yeah, I wanted more to happen. But otherwise, it's fine. It's, you know. I wasn't enraged. It wasn't a slap in the face to fans or anything, you know. So this is Bad Batch season 8. No, season 3, episode 9, The Harbinger.
Spoilers. Lots of spoilers.
Yeah, we're gonna spoil
this
it.
episode came out literally today.
Yeah, so if
don't come at us. Get out of here.
Yes, go watch
now
and come back. Yeah, come back on Saturday when the podcast comes out on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube, by the way. We have 900 subscribers.
You could be 901.
Yes.
Think about it.
So the episode opens on the beautiful Wanda Sykes Island, which is officially what it's called now, where Crosshair and Wrecker are returning from a buddy fishing trip with one of the local women who very, very clearly wants to fuck Crosshair.
Okay.
Because they leave and she gives him a wink.
He's like, I don't do that.
Yeah, and since
I am rifle sexual.
Yeah, and also since Wrecker is like a 12-year-old, he's like, I think she likes you.
Crash is like, shut the fuck up.
So they get back. Hunter kind of meets up with them, and he's like, I still haven't heard back from Fennec Shand. And Crosshair's like, why are we waiting on intel? Like, let's just go shoot things. And he's like, because we don't have any leads. What the fuck are we going to shoot? And he's like, I haven't thought that fucking far ahead. Get off my balls about
Crosshair.
This.
I shoot and just hit things. Yeah. It just happens.
Not anymore. He's not very good at hitting things.
Well, he did the meditating the last time. So clearly that made everything better.
Did it have an effect on his accuracy?
We haven't seen yet.
So a quick reminder on because they talk about M counts. They're doing M count experiments at Tantus. And it would seem that Omega is
significant in some way.
Right. And so they're trying to figure out what the fuck is an M count. Fennec Shand was like, I might know a guy. Right. So that's what they're waiting on. Hunter wants to be prepared for the Empire, right? Because he knows that everyone's after, they're all after him and everything. And Crosshair's like, it doesn't matter how much you prepare. We're probably fucked. It's the Empire. So meanwhile, Omega and the Bad Batch bitch Batcher, because she's a female dog.
Get it? The bad bitch Batcher.
The Bad Batch bitch Batcher. Yes. God, that's some good alliteration too. Are playing on a beach.
Yep.
And Batcher chases an animal, just like my one of my dogs chases rabbits and squirrels
Both
into
of
my
your
neighbor's.
dogs would.
Well, my other dog doesn't go under the fence into the other,
okay.
like the other neighbor's yard. So anyway, he sees an animal. She sees an animal, is like, fuck you, and goes after it. And Omega and Batcher find themselves in a cave with a random ship, just hanging out.
First off, Batcher's like, I don't know about this, and Omega's like, quit being such a fucking coward.
Yeah.
We've been in this cave dozens of times. Here, let me put on my flashlight and show you that. Oh my god, there's a ship.
It's a ship, yeah. And Omega's like, what the fuck? What's this? And Batcher's like, peace out, and like,
I'm gone.
Like he leaves, yeah. And Omega turns around to see fucking. So we're not supposed to know who it is, but like we all know who it is. It's Assajj Ventress.
Yeah, she gets jump scared by Assajj Ventress.
It's like turns around, she's like creeping. There's like, hello. So Batcher is like, fuck this. I'm gonna go tell on you. Finds the Bad Batch, which now is Wrecker, Hunter, and Crosshair.
Yes.
And she does the Lassie.
Yeah, Lassie.
Yeah.
What's that? Timmy fell down the well?
Yeah, it's pretty much that.
Omega's in the cave down by the beach?
Yes.
What?
So the Bad Batch shows up, and Assajj Ventress is just dragging Omega like she did something wrong.
Oh, she's trying to get her out of the cave, I think.
And Hunter's like, fuck off, let her go. And she's like, okay, but not because you said so. Like, lets her go.
Like, I could kill all of you. Yeah. I'm doing this because I choose to.
So Hunter's like, who the fuck are you? And Assajj is like, Fennec Shan sent me. And Hunter's like, let me rephrase. Who the fuck are you? Wait, hold on. How did you find us? Because we didn't give Fennec Shan our address.
Assajj is like, I'm just that good, bitch.
I'm a badass. That's how. And I also know you're interested in information about M counts. And he's like, we are. So give us some information on M counts. And she's like, okay, my payment will be telling you.
You telling me?
Yeah, you telling me why you want information on M counts. And so Omega comes up with a brilliant story where she's like, oh, this friend who isn't me, the Empire wants that friend to do M-count experiments on, and we were trying to help that friend out. And
Assajj Ventress is like, I know you're talking about yourself in the third person.
Ventress is like, okay, that'll count as my payment.
All right, fine.
So they tell him about M-counts, right? And she's like, people with higher M-counts can use the Force.
They actually use the word midichlorian.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
they use it once. Yeah. The other times it's all M-count.
Yeah. So Omega's like, holy fuck, I'm a Jedi. I mean, my friend who is absolutely not me and an entirely different person is a Jedi.
And in the background, Crosshair is just
like, you fucking idiot. So Ventress is like, that's weird. I've never heard of Force sensitive clones, but they made like 1 billion of you guys. So like, there's bound to be some anomalies.
She also has a good line. It's not the blood that makes you a Jedi. It's the training.
Yeah. Which is going to piss some fanboys off because people are still upset that Sabine is suddenly a Jedi.
Yeah, I was going to say, it makes sense that Sabine, who has like practically no midichlorians, but is incredibly stubborn and has a really good teacher, is able to do a teensy tiny bit of Force.
Yeah, everyone's pissed off about her being a Jedi, and it's like, she's not a very good one.
No. She's barely good enough to not instantly die when Shin Hati comes at her with a lightsaber.
Yeah. So Ventress is like, anyway, there's the information by. Omega catches up to her. She's leaving, and
it's like, wait a minute.
And
How do you know about M counts?
Yeah, and Ventress is like, is the Empire after you because of the M count thing? And or no, Omega asks her, is Omega pretty much is like, do I have an M count? And Ventress is like, I have no idea unless I test you. And Omega is like, oh, is there a super easy blood test we could do? And she's like, there absolutely is not. Like, where did you get that dumbass idea? We have to do a weird, seemingly arbitrary physical test that yields inconclusive results. And she's like, okay, let's do that.
Okay.
So sometime later,
I can justify this in my mind as like that was a Jedi thing, and like the technology has been lost because the Jedi got fucked.
It's like how the Scientologists have that Thetan detector, which is just like a multimeter,
something like that. Yeah.
It's like that, except that like like you can't get them on eBay anymore because they're all dead or whatever. Sometime later, like when the lighting is a little bit more dramatic, Ventress tests Omega, and she has her stand on like a slippery rock
on one foot, balancing
fruit
like
on her head,
peach on her head, and
Omega's like, what the actual fuck does this have to do with my M count? And she's like, you have to stop striving for balance and let go of your conscious mind. And Omega's like, yeah, that doesn't mean a fucking thing.
I don't know what that means.
That doesn't mean anything. Yeah. That sounds like a lot of sophistry. Something that sounds really deep and is not deep at all because I'm a scientist. And so she slips, and Ventress is like, okay, fucking try again. Meanwhile, the Bad Batch a few feet away are like cheering her on, right? Because they're
Wrecker's like, go Omega.
Yeah, they all, even Crosshair, have like this serious dad energy, right?
Yeah.
And
well, for Wrecker, it's like slightly older brother.
Yeah. Or just
or just puppy.
Yeah. Pet. Ventress is like, y'all are distracting her. Like, go fuck off.
Get the fuck out of here.
And Hunter's like, I will not fuck off. But the other two, and he's like, you're going to have to deal with me just standing here. So Omega asks Ventress if she's a Jedi. And she's like, I'm not, but I know something about their ways. And she's like, you should go watch the original 2D Clone Wars to see how much of a Jedi I'm actually not. Crosshair comes back after doing a background check on Ventress, because one of them like has a hunch who she is, and so they look into it.
They look in text database.
Yeah, so they do the background thing, and Crosshair's like, okay, she doesn't show up on any sex offender lists. That's good. But it's definitely Assajj Ventress.
Bad news.
And that's bad.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah,
because she killed like 1 million people.
Yeah, arguably as bad as being on a sex offender.
Yeah.
So something's about to happen, right? They come up.
Assajj Ventress knows what they're talking about.
So they come up, and Ventress comes up with this like impossible task for Omega. So
like, you got to get all the way up to the top of Mount Wanda, bring me back this one flower from this one tree that probably doesn't even have it, and then bring it back down here before the sun sets, which is in like 2 minutes. So you better get cracking.
Yeah, it's so very clearly the adults need to talk.
Yes.
So she leaves with Batcher, and she turns toward the Bad Batch, and she's like, all right, who's trying to get their asses whooped? So Omega rides Batcher to get to the flower in time and shit.
My favorite part of this scene, by the way, is that like the Bad Batch are like, we're gonna fucking shoot you, like let's throw down, and Ventress is like, bitch, please, just pulls the guns out of their hands, is like, no cheating. That's so, like Hunter and the dads are like, you need to fuck off, you need to leave, and they pull the blasters, and she's like, fuck off, yeets them into the ocean, and she's like, bitch, please. I fought Obi-Wan Kenobi and didn't immediately die. I fought Anakin Skywalker and didn't immediately die. I might have had sex with Count Dooku, no one really knows, and I didn't die. Yeah.
So
did have sex with Quinlan Voss and didn't die.
Lucky bitch. Okay. So the Bad Batch, like their guns get yeeted in the ocean. The Bad Batch is like, we'll just punch you.
Fuck it, we'll just punch you. Assajj is like, you will not punch me.
She's
in
like,
fact, I will be the one who punches.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty good at punching, as it turns out. And they get their asses whipped because like she's a ninja pretty much, right? And like even Wrecker, she's like, oh, I know exactly where to kick you where it hurts a lot. So at some point, Crosshair is able to get the guns out of the water, and like he gives them the guns back. And Ventress is like, look, just be good soldiers and follow orders. Just stand down. And they're like, oh, haven't you heard? We're not good at following orders. And she's like, I don't. It's just
I don't care. I'm just going to pull out my lightsaber now.
You're saying that like it's an inside job. I don't get it. And they're like, okay, we're just going to shoot you. And there is actually a really neat musical moment where like the fucking Bad Batch thing comes
swells up, and they don't do anything because Ventress
she deflects everything.
She has, by the way, one of those curved lightsabers.
Always has.
Yes.
Always has. In fact,
it's no longer red. It's now yellow.
It's yellow. Yeah. Someone in the comment section on our Facebook today was like, when did she get the curved lightsaber hilts like Dooku? And
always
it's like,
had it.
From her first appearance in the 2D Clone Wars, she's always had it.
She had two of them that you could screw together to make a double thing.
Yeah. The yellow, she probably just found a new kyber crystal.
That would be my guess.
Yeah.
Unless there's some like unbleeding process.
Yeah.
But
they're generally white. Like that's what happened with Ahsoka's.
That was Ahsoka's, right?
But okay. We don't know. It's like it could be. So Omega returns, and it's that
like, I got the flower. What the fuck happened?
It's that meme from Community where Donald Glover comes in with a pizza and shit's on fire, and she's like, what?
Like Crosshair's knocked out. Like Hunter has Ventress's lightsaber at his neck.
Yeah.
Wrecker is being force choked.
Yeah, just dangling there like a fucking child. Yeah. So Omega's like, what the fuck is going on? And Hunter's like, she's a fucking war criminal. And Ventress is like, Jesus, that was years ago. Let it alone.
Let it go, dude.
Also, you guys did a bunch of sketchy shit too. Like, we're both pawns in a war and we both fucking lost. And she's like, look, I'm not your enemy. Just leave me alone. You know what?
And I'll prove it by not killing you all instantly.
She walks away and they're like, are you going to leave? She's like, no, I'm just walking away. So that night, the Bad Batch and Omega talk about Ventress, and Hunter doesn't think she can be trusted and shit. And Omega's like, I mean, she had you guys beat and she didn't kill you.
Like, she could have killed all of you.
And Wrecker's like, we had her right where we wanted her. And she's like, you were dangling like a fucking rag doll. You were nearly unconscious. And so Omega's like, well, people can change. And Crosshair's like, you fucking idiot. No, they can't. That's super naive. And
Omega's like, oh, like you didn't change?
Yeah, like gives him a over the glasses.
Bitch, please.
Yeah. Omega is like, okay, we got to give her a second chance. And they're like, well, since you get everything you want, then fine.
All right, fine.
So Ventress takes her on a boat. They have another test. She has her stand out. She's like, okay, connect to the Force. And she's like, if I knew how to do that, I wouldn't need you to tell me. Like, how? And she's like, I don't know. Just fucking do it.
Do some nature shit. I don't know.
Reach out. And she's like, nothing. Got fucking nothing. And she does give it a good try.
Yeah.
Closes the eyes and
Close the eyes.
Yeah.
Strikes a really good pose. She's just like, something's supposed to happen?
Right. So Ventress is like, okay, I'll demonstrate.
Allow me to demonstrate.
Yeah. And she attracts a bunch of like sea life.
I really like this scene actually because it's a nice parallel to Empire Strikes Back when Yoda and Luke are in the bog and Luke's like, you want the impossible. And Yoda's just like, bitch, please, let me just pull this X-Wing out of the swamp.
By the way, she's not asking Omega to pull anything out of the water.
She's just saying like, attract some jellyfish.
Or just fuel the Force in some way. So the entire time the Bad Batch is spying on them, but she knows. Like Crosshair's got a sniper. He's just like, make one fucking
Ventress is just looking over her shoulder like, are you guys done?
Yeah. Crosshair's like, it'll take me 3 shots, but I'll hit you fucking eventually. So turns out Ventress accidentally summons a tentacle monster, which is like this week's monster of the week, right? And
Omega's like, did you do that? And Ventress is like, not intentionally.
Didn't know that fucking thing was down there. Otherwise, I would not have done that. Their boat gets capsized, and like the Bad Batch jumps in the Marauder to go help. And they show up and like they're shooting at it and shit, and they're only pissing it off. And
there's a nice little sequence where Omega gets grabbed by a tentacle and Ventress like dives down and like cuts the tentacle off with her lightsaber.
Yeah, some people are going to be upset about that, by the way, because the lore on underwater lightsabers isn't firmly established. Because before the original Clone Wars, they're like lightsabers would short out when they touch water. And then Kit Fisto was like, well, I'm from underwater and I have a lightsaber and I need to fight someone underwater. So George Lucas is like, what the fuck ever.
Yeah, just make it happen.
And now it's like, do they require special modification or not? They haven't really explained how it works. And it doesn't matter.
It's fine.
Yeah. So they piss it off. Omega calls them and is like, would you guys stop embarrassing me in front of the crazy witch assassin bitch? Yeah. And so they stop, right? And Ventress uses the Force to pacify it.
Like, he fucking grabs her and just pulling her into his mouth, and Ventress is just like, just calm down.
Yeah.
Just chill.
Also, I did not expect you to have a beak. That's really weird.
Like, you already ate 5 billion jellyfish. I think you're good.
Yeah, I brought them all to you, by the way. Yeah, because this mouth is like covered in that like bioluminescent bullshit. Yeah. So the Marauder shows up, they pick him up. And note that Crosshair is the first one in that door helping Omega onto the ship. Like,
yeah, he has turned around.
Yeah. And then like
also he helps Ventress.
Yeah, he looks like he might just push her off, but he's like, okay. So like they get in, Omega's like, okay, that was fun. They're like, you stupid child. So back at the cove, Ventress tells Omega, she's like, you don't have the Force. Sorry. And Omega's like, well,
okay,
I guess I'll leave.
Cool.
And fucks off, right? So she leaves.
Let's go play fetch.
Yeah. So she leaves, and Crosshair is like, yeah, that's a fucking lie.
And then just like, which part?
He's like, I don't know, probably fucking all of it. And so she tells him that she's like, look, if she had the Force, if she had potential, she'd have to be trained and she'd have to leave you guys. And Hunter's like, yeah, that's not fucking happening.
And just like, why do you think I just lied to her?
So she's like, you guys aren't as safe here as you think. Like, first of all, I found you. It wasn't actually that difficult. Like, you need to keep running or the Empire is going to find you. And they're like, well, what if the fucking Empire finds you? And she's like,
they can fucking try.
Yeah. And then she turns around and gives a very knowing look and says, I've got a few lives left. And they're like, what the fuck does that mean? And she's like, bye.
Later.
And that's the end of the episode. And this is also going to piss some fanboys off because famously, Ventress dies in Dark Disciple, dies in her love's arms. But he like throws her into the zombie waters of Dathomir or whatever. So the only explanation you need for this really is
she's a zombie.
Night Sister magic.
Sure.
Does weird shit. Like if you've played Jedi Fallen Order,
it does weird shit.
Like zombies fall out of testicle sacs on Dathomir. Like that's probably what happened. I don't know. Something like that. So yeah.
Fun. Good episode.
I imagine the Empire's probably going to show up in the next one or something.
Yeah.
They're going to have to go on the run again. I saw someone like, hey, it'd be really cool if they did another series where Omega and Assajj Ventress team up and like they do a training thing.
Actually, I had a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think Omega survives to Uncle Luke's Jedi camp?
How old would she be?
Well, she's like 10 or 12, and this is like right after episode 3. She would be in her 40s about?
Mid 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone do the math on that. Real quick before we go on to the next thing.
Which is video games?
Yes, but yeah.
Yes.
I don't think we're doing Battlefront, so I want to make sure I get to this. Jimmy says I would make babies with Ventress if she didn't dice me up on my approach. She does seem like the type.
I mean, you miss every shot you don't take, so fucking go for it.
It's like a Black Widow, like tears the head off after she's done mating. Yeah. Other Jimmy says I think Ventress was indeed dead because, but she was buried on Dathomir. She got revived, but how she is not a zombie as we see Undead Night Sisters, I don't understand.
Crazy witch shit. I don't know.
Casey says in one vague throwaway line while walking away, the Bad Batch didn't even understand honoring Dark Disciple. Yes. Isn't reanimating zombies very different to completely resurrecting deceased persons with zero price to pay? Or I don't know, man. The Force works in mysterious ways.
Yeah. I mean,
if that works for your religion, it should be able to work for Star Wars.
I feel like they're going to explain that at some point just because they have to.
Yeah.
Because exactly this response is happening.
Well, actually, I think if someone involved in this episode, someone official was like, calm down, we will explain this later in another thing.
Yeah.
Like right now it doesn't matter. It's like, it's not relevant to the story. Other Jimmy, Australian Jimmy says
there's 3 Jimmys.
Yeah, there are 2. This is Australian Jimmy. There is only the Force Afterlife. Also a couple comments from post earlier, because I do a spoiler thread every week for these. Casey says, I can read these a lot easier. Love Assajj, like the episode, highly believe she should have stayed dead, is a single vague throwaway line. I think that's what he said in our chat as well. And then the non-Australian Jimmy said, amazing episode. Granted, I don't understand how she's alive after she died in a canon book, but it's still great to see her again. I'm worried now with her being back. I think the outcome and ending of the show will be all the members of the Bad Batch dying, but Omega and Ventress goes and trains to become a Jedi.
Maybe.
Yeah. Ralph says, was a nice filler episode.
I don't think it was filler at all.
It was more filler for me than I expected Ventress to be. Like, I was expecting there to be like, I don't know. I was expecting there to be a bigger thing than it was.
I don't think it was filler, but I think we need to see another couple episodes before we know.
Yep.
For sure.
Devontae says, I hope they do a spinoff of her and Omega. Michael says, nah, I'm good. I mean, I asked for opinions, and I guess he had no opinion so hard he had to give one. Nathan says, do you think this is setting up her return to the next season of Kenobi? To which I responded, there is no next season of Kenobi. So very sorry. And some questions about the yellow lightsaber.
I don't know. I feel like the Omega and Ventress show could be kind of fun.
Yeah. Jordan says, I just want to see her with Quinlan. It needs to happen. It's like, yeah. Because he's still alive.
Yeah.
I bet he would like to. Well, she might have already made contact with him. Like, he might be on the ship, like, naked, like, ready for her to come back. Yeah, be like, are you finished with your training? And then, like, that's what they do all the way to the next thing. They just fuck like rabbits. All right. We're going to come back with some branded video game. It will be Star Wars, but it could be Battlefront 2. It could be Battlefront 2, or it could be Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. So hang around, join us here in a few minutes. We'd love to see you there. Bye-bye.
Bye.